There you go, without damaging anything. And you can take this over here. Let's check this out. All right. Yeah, so that FRAM mod, well, I'm gonna straight shoot both of these at the same time. So that FRAM mod and region mod is about the same type of install, similar as far as like removal and whatnot. Let me bang these guys out real quick. So sometimes you might get lucky. Generally, you know, with like that FRAM mod and the region free mod. If you get a board that's stuck on, you know, with these chips that are stuck on the bottom, they're going to be tacked on, more or less. If you get the Model 2s with the FRAM chips, and I mean with the FRAM chip and region chips, they're usually right over here, and they're not as hard as to remove as opposed to like the Model 1. So this, on some days, you know, you get really lucky removing these two chips if they're on the bottom of the board, but like on, oh hey, what up? Oh shit, man. Car seat coming in. Word. So, these, you know, like if you're tacked on the bottom, like if it's on the bottom of the board, there's obviously going to be some glue in there. And depending on who did it, you know, like from Sega, there's always going to be like some asshole that, you know, like messes it up. Oh shit. Coming in. Yeah, I have a bunch of them, Helgreen. Oh, so we're doing a from the Saturn today. We're gonna be changing up what you call it? Just changing, replacing this SRAM chip with an FRAM one. So what does the FRAM do? So the FRAM does is like it keeps all your saves intact without using this battery. So this battery stores all the saves on your system, and like if this battery dies, the saves dies along with it. So. And then once you know, like that dies, it's dependent on it. So this little chip right over here is dependent on it. This little SRAM chip. We'll be swapping it out soon with a Ramtron 1808. Yeah. And then over here, this is the region chip. If you're using like disk-based stuff, you might be region locked out of a game on it. So what I would do is, let me see, what I would do is just remove this part first. Let me get this up. And then finish this up a bit. Okay. Right over here, this part. Thank you. Thanks for the bits. Holy shit, we got viewers, yay! Hooray! Thanks for the raid, man. Appreciate it. I do. I offer WeDual installs. I do pretty much all the installs. Like I do a shit ton of installs for pretty much everything. But as long as you have the part, or you know, if I let you know otherwise, I could install it for you and whatnot. Oh yeah, so let's start this off. This is the region chip on it, the BIOS. And so what I've gotten today is a different BIOS chip over here. This is it's a region-free BIOS chip, but it has the High Saturn splash page on it though. So, I mean the splash logo on it. So this is the type of chip you want to use. It's a SOIC 44 packaging, and so, and there's an 8 megabit. It's an 8 megabit chip. I get them from, luckily I got it from Video Games New York. They had a bunch of spare parts laying around, and I was like, yo, let me see that real quick. They're like, oh, alright. They're like, word. So, yeah. But, no, you can order these chips off of this guy named 02K11. Let me see if the shop is still around. 02K11. Oh yeah, his shop is still around. He's one of the old school heads in the scene. Oops. Oh yeah. Go hang out with the shorty, B. So it's light. No, it's light melting. Right. So right over here. Let me just get this thing off. So there's a couple ways to do this. You could use the hot air method, or use what I like to do. As always, I always rely on my flush cutters. Like, people have like a general way of following things. I generally like to use flush cutters for these. But if you're using flush cutters, you got to be really careful not to fuck these up. So what I generally like to do is snip one of these legs individually, slip to remove them. So like so, you just sever it like that. Let me get better camera angle. Okay, there you go. Let's change this up. Properties. Yeah, I generally like using cutters for them. Hot air station works, but it's a little bit slower. But the advantage is it's safer if you're just worried about your chips getting removed. This one has like a high risk to it though. Like you want to be careful about how you separate the legs, because you could potentially damage these pads over here, and these pads are pretty small. So like repatching them would be a pain in the ass on them. But I use a CHP. It's a Hacko flush cutter, but it's a TR20 flush cutter for it though. My favorite Saturn game, I like playing I guess Battle Garega. So yeah, I have a cover of Battle Garega over there in the back. That's like one of my favorite games. You could go like Hot Air Station is recommended for most people, but you know if you're like me, I generally have like a couple of flush cutters. Well, by a couple I mean like 7 of them. I use like a really fine jaw one, so that way I can remove the the stuff easily. And then there's a medium one, this Hacko one. You could use that, but you could potentially like damage, like move the other legs around. So what I do is just snip them individually. It's a little bit barbaric. If you want to save them, you could save them to dump the file, but I generally don't save them. I just snip them off and I just remove them from there. Okay, that's that. Yeah, Battle Garega's got like the best soundtrack, man. I love Battle Garega. Like the fighting games too. I love the fighting games. There's so many good fighting games on it. So snip that off. Snip that off. I think this one doesn't have any glue. It might be my lucky day. Shit. So. If you're working with an earlier model of the Model 1, you won't even have like an SMD chip like that. You'll get like a straight up IC chip on it. So that might be a little bit harder because you'll need to desolder the entire chip and then add in a socket for it. So just pop that in, cut that. Snip these one individually, and getting there. This is more of like the more, I guess, faster method, in my opinion. But again, there's more risks involved in it. Oh, thank goodness! There's no glue in there. Holy shit! Generally, Sega on a crazy day, like depending on who worked on these machines, they might stick on glue to tack onto it, or they might not. Like this one. Holy shit! Finally, yeah, no epoxy on this one. I generally hate it having epoxy on it because, like, on some days, on some machines, somebody might have like a really bad day, and they might stick a whole shit ton of glue in there. And like, even if I remove these legs over here, I can't prop them out. So Otherwise, like if that's the case, I would use like a hot air station to like just move them out because like it could potentially damage these. I hate that sometimes. You know, I don't know why they do it. It's like usually like some guy who just hated his job or something like that would just put a lot in it. Anybody that does that, you know, I can't be friends with you, man. So. All right, so now that this is removed, let me just take a quick picture of this. All the stuff that you see here, you know, that I'm doing right now, you could catch it on Twitter or any other social media stuff. Because this is all, you know, like customers' stuff. Okay, there you go. So, in this case, now, you know, we were talking about flux earlier. And there's certain applications for certain things. So yes. Okay. All right. So today we're going to be using this syringe stuff, this paste flux that comes in a needle syringe. This is the best thing to use if you're using if you're doing like SMD work. So what I would do is like I would just apply a little bit over here, just a little bit, you know, before you start like adding it on, and just you get your soldering iron over here, just a little bit of the tip. Just add a little bit of solder, tin it, and then once you have that going on, it just glides right through like butter, man. This shit is fucking butters, man. Like, look how smooth that shit looks, man. Shit. And like, add a little bit right there, and just removes it off cleanly, as you can see. So this is why I like using this type of stuff. There's no clean flux. Just removes chips easily on them. But, however, if you want to use it for like different applications, like soldering like those ribbon things, I would not use that though. Yeah, it's amazing, man. And then there's this type of flux too. So, but that is what I use for wires. And so with this stuff here, I like this because it's still pasty. You're still gonna have that flux sitting around. You just get your wick over here. Oh, whoops! Your wick over here. And it just removes everything cleanly. Nice and smooth, man. Remember, type different fluxes for different applications. And it gives it a nice little flat surface area over here. At this point, I'm going to switch out the different soldering tip. I have this little chisel tip over here. But this is not the right one to use. If you want to do like drag soldering, you want an angled tip like this one right here. There's a big fat ass tip right there, and it just glides right through. So let me just pop this out real quick. And now when you're working with specifically with, let me clean this up too. That's like just with yay. Yeah. So with this stuff, you just want to clean this stuff here down. Clean up the IPA stuff. I mean, to clean up the flux and whatnot. And now with the chip that we have over here, there's going to be a... Whoa. Let's clean this up. Look at that, nice and clean. Okay. So different use cases. These are generally good for SMD work because you're going to be heating up a shit ton of chips, and this provides like it not only helps remove chips a lot easier. It also like you're dealing with like multiple chips at that point. This doesn't burn out as quick on it when you're trying to like desolder things like specifically like this. What you call it? This flux paste here is also good, but it could be quite messy to deal with. This is really good with like this paste here. This is really good with like wires and stuff. I usually dip them in. This thing has been sitting there for a while now. And then there's one more over here. This liquid flux is really good too. This comes in like a liter bottle, but the downside of it, like it disappears really quickly. Like this thing like not dissolves, but it like the flux is gone at that point. It dries up really quickly on this, and this is good for like ribbon cables and stuff. So like if you're doing like something with like really delicate applications, it would just what you call it, dry up really quickly. But yeah, so yeah. Let me just take another picture on it, make it look nice and pretty. Okay. Alright, so this part, notice that, you know, like with this new BIOS that we have, there's a couple of things that's off. Notice that these legs don't sit in properly with it, as you can see. So it doesn't fit it. And then, not only that, there's the syringe flux doesn't vaporize. This is it stays there for a while. This stuff here, this stuff is good for like chips like this. Because like as you saw earlier, you know, when I was desoldering, like using this wick over here to like remove the solder, there was still residual flux on it. The only problem is it's like, you know, this stuff is amazing on chips, but it's so bad, like it's so sticky on the hands. The liquid flux dries up really quickly. I usually, for the Virtual Boy, this is good for it though. Okay. Funny. But as you notice, like right over here, these pads don't fit. And so what I would do, I'll show you. Let me swap this over here. What I would do on this is just take this part over here and just bend it a bit, like so. Like I'm taking the legs over here, pushing it against the surface, and then just bending it like that. Okay? And then from there, you could try to see, like if you bend it on an angle, you know, as you can see, it's setting, you know, properly to the pads. Like if you bend it this way, like you just doing it on an angle like how I did it, like this, it won't damage it. It won't damage your legs on the chip. But you've got to make sure all of them is like that though. Like it has to be bent on the surface. Now we double check this again, right? See? It's sitting in nice and straight. We need a little bit more of a bend on it. Bend it a little bit more. See? Now it matches the surface, as you can see. Like usually the legs are longer than the pad, so what I would just do, you know, is just bend it. And now these two parts over here, these two parts, there's like two extra legs. This thing has like about 40 pads on them, and on this chip there's about 44 pins. So what we do is with these chips, with these over here, these two extra legs on each row are going to be lifted. Let me get the flat. Okay, here it is. Flat part over here, just lift these two. Lift these two. It's like flatten them out. Lift it, flatten them out. Lift this part here too. These two extra chips. I mean legs, and flatten them out using like a flat tweezer. And then when you look at it over here, you see that little mark right there? That's where you need to start off. These two parts have been removed, so this bottom, these two here, once you do that, these two parts over here, you only need one part of the leg. You need just this part right over here. That's going to be your ground. You need to wire that up to ground. And then this part over here is going to be your power. You'll need those two legs together. And so what I would do is, no, you don't want to clip them. I mean, yeah, you do want to clip them, but clip that one part over there on the bottom row, okay? And then right over here, you snip that off. And then this part over here, what I like to do, the top row over here, is just combine them, like mush them together, like so. Like that. And then we'll just add some solder to it later. And just clip that too. Okay. And so for an easy method, like, hey, let me get into the Monkey guide. It's a really great guide for anybody who's trying to install a BIOS. Monkey. Yeah, this guy has like a bunch of good information. Another old school head. Sega Saturn. Here it is. Yeah, he taught me how to do it. I was reading up this guide and he taught me how to do this shit. It's helpful. Okay. So once you have this all done over here, you want to tack on one leg, so the leg doesn't, so the chip doesn't fall, doesn't move around as you solder. So what I like to do is just add a little bit of solder over here. I'll get this thing out of the way. A little bit of solder over here, right there. Just so it tacks on. Let me just move this camera over. There you go. Right there. And then right over there. Right there. Okay. So we just take that. Just find a good placement for it though. Focus. There you go. And so we take that little part over here. Just align it properly. This will help us not only tack onto, but help us align through the pads. Just make sure that like it has. A distributed, like amount of surface that it gets soldered onto. Without it, you might, it's going to be hard to drag solder. It's easy, like a lot of people a lot of the issues with this is people tend to drag solder, but they wind up either missing the pad or they wind up ripping out the pads by accident on it though. Where is it at? Where are you at? There you go. Okay, so right over here, we'll just tack on this other end over here. So this son of a bitch don't go nowhere, right? So you want to make sure it aligns perfectly. Alright, because since you're also dealing with a shit ton of legs too, you don't want to mess them up, because just finding them and just try to troubleshoot fix them is a pain in the ass. I know when I first did this, I fucked up on it too, so. Yeah, definitely need flux on it, man. Yo, it's like you think about it this way. It's like do you when when you're trying to smash, do you do it raw or like you gotta have some sort of lube. This acts like a lube too. All right, so basically, once we have this down, just apply a nice little coating of flux over here. This will help out with the flux because you don't want it, it doesn't heat up the pads. The traces here are pretty small. And just add a little bit of solder through here. Just drag solder the son of a bitch down. Nice and shiny. It also helps you to prevent it from like not bridging anything too, to use it. All right. This part over here. As you can see, there isn't any bridging or anything like that. So just add some solder over here. And then repeat and do the same thing. It works like butter, man. Like, this flux is amazing. Have some extra solder over here. Just a little bit. Yeah, so this is where it starts bridging over here at this point. What I would just do is just add a little bit more flux. It'll move that out completely. All right, there you go. There you go, nice. I want to double check that. So, whoa. As you can see, this part is nice and shiny. Now this part here too, should be nice and shiny too. Oh, you don't need much. You don't need a lot of it though. You just need like a small amount, like this much. Let me show you. Just like a very small amount, so you just apply it like that. And that's it. That's all you need for it though. It's a very, very small amount. You don't need much for it. The flux will handle the rest because it'll help you, not only like provide lube for it. It'll help distribute the solder cleanly too. I will in a few so I'm just doing a region mod and that too. So yeah, that's done. Oh wait, the light is pretty dark. Let me just turn on the light real quick. It's about to rain. No, it's not. Give me 1 second, guys. It's about that time. I'm about to eat too. Alright, luckily I made some cutlets last night. Fucking hype. Yeah, I just with this stuff. Let me just run it again with some solder, because I like to give it a few runs a couple of times just to make sure that the legs are soldered properly. Like if you miss like one leg, if it's not soldered properly to the pad, you'll wind up getting like a black screen or something. I sent in a link. I had a link earlier. where this guy, he's an old school head. He carries like BIOS chips and stuff. Let me see if I can find it again. No worries, no worries. Where did I do it? There you go. There you go. Enjoy. He's an old school head, too. Yeah, so this flux is still nice over here. Okay. This is nice. This is like giving it a quick inspection to see if everything's soldered properly. Yeah, it's nice and flat now. Okay, cool. This is good to go. And now with these other, remember these other two legs that we just cut out and stuff? We need to wire up this bottom part over here to ground. Like there's a way people do it, like right over here to over here. This is ground over here, and then people wire. This is wired up to power. So you gotta find something that's like 5 volts and such. But I can show you an easier method from there. Let me find some wires. I got. Let me give you a cool color. Let's do blue. Fuck it. I think that'll be enough for both. So at this point, I gotta swap out the tip now that we're done using this. Oh yeah, no problem. Take take out that chisel point and then use a finer tip. Not it. Use a smaller tip to solder the power and ground. So we're gonna take like a mini half-size chisel tip or whatever it is. I don't even know the name for it, but just take one of these, clean this up, and start tinning this part over here. This is gonna be ground. This is gonna be wired up to ground in order for this chip to work. And then these two over here, it's gonna be power and ground. I mean power right over here. So you solder these two legs together. All right. And now with this, now if you want the solder to flow nicely, I would use this type of flux. This big ass jar of paste that looks like doo-doo. This thing has been there for a minute. There you go. So what I do is like I just strip a little bit over here. Just take a stripper over here. Strip it. Strip one end of it. Dip it in flux. And now since there's solder over here, it's going to be easier because you have like a really small surface area on this thing. I'm going to wire up the power right over here. Now generally people, you have to find like a cap or some source that uses 5 volt. You could use this source right over here, this last leg right over there. That's actually pin 21. That is your 5 volt source over there. And so what I do is, actually it's the other way around, sorry. Let's take this end of it. Take that end. That's been sitting there for like a long time. Like it used to be yellow, but not anymore. Like, so I would just wire up this part first. And just chain it towards like that. Make sure it's soldered in properly. If anything, I would just add a little bit more solder to the here too, to the end of the leg. Okay. Oops, not seeing it. Goddamn robocalls, man. It's annoying. So right over here. There we go. Okay, so what we do here? Take that. Oh, my big ass head isn't in the way. Okay. Stretch that. Take your cuticle cutter or whatever stripper you use. Cut this over here. Just get the lengthwise. And then strip it right there. Boom. That's one. Alright. There you go. And now that you have this one part soldered in, whoops, snip the remaining excess part off. Okay. And now this other part over here, you wire this up to the ground source. You take this part, wire it to the ground source. Now this is a ground source right over here. If you do a continuity check or something with a multimeter, whoops, like take your multimeter over here. You see this little thing with the what is it, sound thing? That's a continuity, so it makes contact for whatever signal you want to look for. So this part over here is ground. If you tap on it, you should hear a beep right there. Okay. So this needs to be wired up over there, that source. Okay, just put this away. And then where the oh, there it is. But this leg over here leads over to ground. So what I'm going to do is just do the same thing like I did with the other one. Just chain it. Strip this. Dip it in flux. Wire this up like so. And then just do the same thing. Measure it out. Like that. And then shorten it right there. And then take cuticle cutter again. Strip it. Strip that shit. Oops. So, strip it, okay. And then from here, just take your soldering iron, and that's that. Okay, nice. Looks soldered right there. That is soldered right over here. All right. And then from there, you just take your cutter, cut it to where the leg is at. Don't cut the leg off, but you know, cut it just to shorten the wire. Do this one more time, and that's your region mod right over here. Okay, nice and tight. Keep that shit nice and tight like a virgin bee. All right, so that's good right there. So again, you know, the top part is your power, and then your bottom is your ground point. Okay. And now with that said, just take a toothbrush and then your IPA. Put this shit down. There you go. Okay, cool. So just take that, scrub it down. Whoa, cancel. Okay, so that's that. All right, next thing. We're gonna do the mod that everybody's been waiting for, the FRAM install. So you know how the same way I did this. I would say like it's soldering in general. I would just look at a couple YouTube videos to start off on how to tin and how to what you call it. How to tin and how to solder and all that stuff. I would look at a couple of YouTube videos on just soldering 101 in general, and then a good site to learn how to learn how to mod things and understand the capabilities of what system and potential it has. Retro RGB is a really good site for this sort of thing. Like they have a repository of like information, and they're always constantly like they have information about all the latest all the latest mods for the systems. They also provide like news and stuff. They have tutorials and basics, just to learn that sort of thing if you want to get into RGB, and even the simpler stuff. Like they have that as well. Like they provide really basic stuff on it. Okay, so next, this one over here. Let me put this away. Put this stuff away. Good picture of this. DIY is really good too, like the Radio Shack stuff. That's really helpful to have too. Really good to have those sort of thing. Alright, so this one over here, okay? That is very true. Micro Center has some great stuff that they could people could begin off with just to get their feet wet, you know, like those radio circuit boards. Those are good to have. Again, just to have your feet wet, you know, with soldering and stuff. I guess you know with soldering, there isn't a lot of like lot of people showing this sort of thing out there. So I guess you know one of the thing is I want to provide that sort of genre, you know. No education for people to learn at that point, too. Anyways, with this part over here, you know how we did with the region mod? We do the same thing over here with the SRAM chip. This is going to be clipped off like we did so earlier. And let me get the zoom in on it. Okay, you just take a little Hacko cutter. I mean, to solder, you could start off with like a $15 iron. That's what I did like 13 years ago, 14 years ago. Start off with like a cheap ass soldering iron, and then work your way from there. You don't need an expensive iron, you know, to get anything done. Like you could use any soldering iron to get anything done, to get the job done, but it does the job, but like if you want to use something that's more efficient for work and stuff like that, it goes by experience as time goes by. All right, just snip off each leg individually. You don't want to pull them, you know, like tug on each one of these legs. Otherwise, you could potentially damage the pads on them, or rip the pads out. Unfortunately, this one doesn't have any glue, this Saturn here, so it's making my job a little bit easier. Oh, this one, it's not completely off yet, so I don't want to yank anything down. This one right there. There you go, it's completely severed from the system, right there. Okay, cool. Alright, so at this point, this chip is done. Took that out. You don't need that in your life. Get this shit out of your life. And so from here, we're gonna remove the legs. So what I'm gonna do is just switch out the tip again. Use this big ass chisel tip, and then add a little bit of flux on it. Well, a little bit. I mean, spread a thin coating. Where's my? Oh, there's my syringe. So we use this stuff over here again. Apply some over here. Okay. A real nice little coating here. And now, you know, like I mentioned before, Cyber. So apply like a really small thin coating of it. Just a dab. There you go. Just a droplet. And from there, just put it. Just glides it off evenly. Do the same thing over here. Just put a little bit. It's just a smidget right there, and just move all the stuff here. Okay. There you go. Nice. Nice and clean. Okay. And now you got some clean ass pads now. Okay. Oh yeah, let me zoom this out. So with the same thing, you know, with there's flux on this thing. We could use our solder wick over here, and then just don't press on it too hard. Like just use your iron and just remove the solder on this pad so we can prep up for the FRAM chip. You want to have clean ass pads for it though. Again. Like so. That is pretty clean. Okay, and now with that said, let me get some cotton swabs. We do have it here. Clean this up. All right. This is not flat. It needs to be a little bit more flat. Yeah, you want to have a thing, the pads flat so the chip could sit evenly, nicely on it though. Okay. Now with that, let's grab the FRAM chip. So luckily, I had this is the only remaining batch of the FRAM chips I have left. This stuff is amazing. This Ramtron, it doesn't need a lot of voltage or anything like that, and it saves your keeps all your saves intact for like almost 35-40 years or something like that, even longer. By the time you're dead, this thing is still saving. So we don't need this. We don't need this battery anymore. We could dish this battery, and like if the battery dies, fuck it. You know, this battery ain't shit anyways. And so with this chip over here, it'll help you keep all those saves intact. So what we before we start mounting this down, god damn, stupid robocallers. Yeah. Before we start doing any of this stuff, we need to prep up this chip first for a couple of things. We need to lift up pin 28. Oh. There you go. We need to like lift up pin 28 and 22 because they're not going to be wired up to the ground. I mean, wired up to the pad. Reason is, like, if you want to keep your battery, you could use the battery now. The battery could only save time, but not saves. You want to lift this up over here. I mean, or cut it like I would. Cut this over here on pin 28, 27, 26, 25, 27, 26, 25, 24, 23. And then lift or cut pin 22. All right. So that's going to be wired to ground. And so from here, I'm gonna add the solder over here just to mount it down. Okay, like before, we just tacked this down. Okay. Tack that down. And then tack this down. Okay. And then once you have that done, you get, again, your paste over here. Apply a thin coating of it. Thin coating of it. Apply a thin coating of this as well. And then you just get your chisel tip. You just drag this shit down. Alright. And then this part over here, let's get a little bit of solder over here. Do the same thing. Alright, look at that, nice and smooth. Now, these other two legs, we need to wire them up. Again, for power and ground, use a little thin ass tip. And we'll take, I still have a little bit of this Kynar left. This over here, we could just, this pin over here, we need to wire it up to pin 22 on it, alright? So what we do is, I mean, on pin 22, we gotta wire it to ground. God, I'm hungry right now, so getting there. So after this install, I'll probably just take a quick break and just eat real quick. Alright, so right over here. Over here, these are going to be ground points, so you could use any of those over there. Connect that to pin 22. Take that. Let me tin up this pin first. Tin this up. And then tin this up. Okay. What I'm going to do over here is, whoa. Snip this part. Now that we got this over here, just strip off a little end of this wire, and then apply some flux. Probably keep that over there. Do a little bit of flux over here. Just rub it there. Apply some flux, some solder. Right there, okay. And then just use some tweezers or something like that, just to make an angle. So, And then from there, once you position it properly, add some solder, some more solder. Oh, that's already been tacked down, but just like permanent will do it. You have pin 22 grounded now. And now this part here, this last pin over here, 28. You want to wire that up to pin like a 5. You want to wire that up to a 5-volt source. So like, you know how we had we wired this up to a 5-volt source. And so what I would do is just do a continuity check again, and see where the 5-volt source is at. I would just take this leg over here, start finding a 5-volt source. Is this power source? Am I getting it deep over here? Oh, right over here. So 5-volt is right over here. So we're gonna take this, take a wire and wire it up to there, right? Ow. Okay, let me find that little piece of wire I just had. Where the heck did I put it at? Oh, here it is. Alright, so we take that. Take a little Kynar. Remember, just dip this in. Let's wire this up to well, actually, let's do the cap first instead of wiring up it, because I'm gonna wind up pulling it anyways. Right there. So on the bottom over here, right? That's your 5-volt source. It's gonna be some mini ass wire if I do this part here, so. Like right there. And then we need to strip this part over here just to expose the wire. Not exposed. Aha! All good. Got it. And now we just carefully just take the tweezer over here. Let's shorten this up a bit. Move the excess over here. God damn, this is pretty short. So, yeah, it's not going anywhere. Nice. And that's how you do it. Okay. Whew. That was pretty good. And now with that said, this looks legit. We're gonna close this up and test this out. I usually like using the Sega Saturn. We're gonna check out the BIOS to see if it worked, and then the saves to see if it works as well. So let's before we do that, let's clean all the shit up. Take a picture. Okay. And take a cool little picture. Sweet. Alright, let's put this back together and test it out. Well, before we screw everything down. Let's put this back together. There you go. And then once everything works, I'm just gonna go take like a 10-minute break to eat. I'm hungry as fuck right now. Hangry. What games do I have in handy? I got a couple of things. I got some imports and stuff. Got We got some Japanese games too. All right. Yeah, without using the mod chip as well. Wire this up. Oh my god, stop calling me. Goddamn fucking robocallers, man. They're so annoying, dude. Alright. You can remove the battery if you want, but like the battery now serves one purpose. It just keeps up with time. And that's it. That's all you need for it though. Like it doesn't, it's not the FRAM, it doesn't, you know, like the SRAM doesn't, the saves aren't relied on the batteries anymore, so. Oh, excuse me. Put this back together. And then over here is one into the other end. So this way and this way. Got it. Let me see how the CD unit went. Where? Hopefully I get this part right. You could hear if... Okay, so that's cool. Yeah, basically, it just handles the clock. But you know, it's not going to handle the saves. It's an independent chip that needs no battery no more, alright? Okay, so you just plug this in, power this up. I need you guys to hear this out for me if, you know, like, here, if I got the ribbon inserted correctly, because I always get that mixed up too. I can't hear from here. Let me see. Wayne, this part is a pain to do. Okay. Okay, there you go. So let me know if you hear it. Okay, my signal. There you go. Beautiful. So everything's hooked up. So that means that our region free chip is set up properly. Okay. Does it sound right? Oh no, the ribbon is not done properly. Hold on. I inserted the ribbon incorrectly. This part here is not inserted properly. And like it won't load up the full animation on it. Like you guys should check out the animation on this shit. Shit is so boss. There you go. Cool. Because it didn't load up the sound properly. Like it didn't load up the games properly on it. Like immediately there should be some sort of animation to it, but there's no animation that happened towards it. Now you could tell if the disc is usually that happens in two instances. Like if the disc is open, you won't get the full animation on it, or if it's inserted correctly, or if it's a sound, when you navigate through the menu, it happens too. Like you don't hear like a buzzer sound, like an incorrect sound on that. So like, can you hear the sound differences if I navigate through the menu? See? There you go. Whoa, we're in the future, bro. So yeah, that's that. Okay. And now to test for FRAM, you just hold the R button down. It'll load that. It should have it though. So go to other settings. Whoops. You get no console audio? Hold on. Okay, I just had to increase the volume on it. So yeah, as you can see, there's 461 blocks. That means the memory is good. So yeah, I had to like increase the volume a bit on it. That's on my end, the mixer. Okay. And so let's do a reset again. Check out the cool animation. This is why I like the BIOS thing. It has this cool animation thing. Let's test for the region mod too. Also testing out the region mod for it though. This came out. It's just the high Saturn was originally. Well, I even got the spine code. The difference between a high Saturn is it's just the company that makes it too. There's V Saturn by Victor, which I own. I love the Saturn stuff, and it should load right about now. There you go. See, there's a region free mod, and it just loads it right there. Give me about a few. I'm gonna go eat real quick. All right. I need to grab some cutlets or something. As usual. Hold on. Yeah, he has a mode. Locatelli choose. Yeah, if you're gonna get graded choose, this shit is the shit right here. I don't know. I love that. Speed up. I was waiting for the thing to cook. I love Saturn games. There's always some sort of weird ass thing going on. Like it's so random. Like I like to have a really good shmups library. It's so anime though. Anime. Hella anime, dude. And like they have a lot of amazing games on them. Oh shit! It's on the game. It wasn't me. You know, this game has this sort of nudity. Yeah. I think my Twitch stream. Yeah, no, I totally understand. You know, Saturn games are expensive, you know. Like this one, for example. You guys, I think you guys all know this one, though. So. Speed up. Today is I made some cutlets, some veal cutlets from last night. I actually like veal cutlets when it's cold. That's not ramen. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just made myself a sandwich. Yeah, this is the game. Sexy Coyotes. Ew, no. I already have it posted. I don't. It's veal cutlet with ham and provolone. I'm beginning to think that this game is like hentai or something, because like any anime that has like tentacles in it is hentai, right? I said I had a veal cutlet with ham and provolone on it. There you go. Yeah, so yeah, once I finish the sandwich, I'll put this back together and whatnot. And then we can work on the Game Boy afterwards. Oh, nice. Yeah, Konami makes a lot of cool games. Like I like the hardware that it has. But I suck at playing like Beat Mania and all that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. Cool hardware, but I don't know how to play it. Okay, done. We're done for now. Let's put this back together. Okay. Screw this back together, and then from here, just we're gonna start the next thing in a few. Oh, excuse me. That was good. Oh, no problem. No problem. The next up, if you guys are staying, you know, like if you guys are sticking around, I'm gonna be doing a Game Boy Color install with the IPS screens. You're gonna have like a better screen on them. Yeah, thanks for stopping by, Cyber. Appreciate it. Okay. I always forget where 5 volt is at. It should be like pin 4 on the left or something. Let me see. One of this is going to be like 5 volts.